the quiet test of your soul. Dear child, this message is meant to reach the deepest part of you, the place that already knows the truth even when the mind doubts it. The angels are very close to you right now. They are tuning into your heart, your energy, and your journey so that they can help you understand something important. You have been wondering if someone has secretly tested you, and if so, what they saw in you that made them trust you so deeply. The angels say yes. At different moments of your life, people have quietly observed you, sometimes without your awareness. They were not trying to harm you or trap you. They were searching for something rare, something true. Sometimes this testing came in subtle ways. A question asked casually, a situation that seemed too coincidental, a shift in someone's behavior that you couldn't quite explain. You may have felt as though someone was quietly watching from the shadows of your reality, measuring the weight of your soul and the strength of your heart. But what you may not have realized in those moments was that these were not punishments. They were sacred opportunities for your true self to shine without you even trying. What they really saw in you, the person, or perhaps more than one person, who tested you was not impressed only by your words or your history. They saw something deeper. They saw the clear and undeniable light of your spirit. They saw your truth, your integrity, your honesty, and the divine spark within you that cannot be hidden no matter what you do. They recognize that you live from your heart, that you make choices guided by sincerity rather than ego. And because of that, their hearts softened, their mind became quiet. They felt for the first time in a long while that they could believe in someone again. They may never say these things aloud. They may never even show it openly, but their soul knows, and it has formed a bond of trust with yours that goes beyond words. The angels want you to understand that this bond is not accidental. It is part of a divine design, an invisible orchestration that placed you and this person on each other's paths. Your light speaks for you, dear child. You may not realize it, but every time you are tested by life, by people, by circumstances, it is your light that answers, not your words. It is your clarity, your honesty, and your inner strength that speak louder than anything you could ever say. The angels have watched how you choose honesty over convenience, kindness over pride, and strength over show. Each time you do this, you shift not only the heart of the one who is watching, but also the energy in the spiritual realm. Your truth cuts through confusion the way a beam of light cuts through darkness. It shows not only what is hidden around you, but also what is hidden inside you. Your immense capacity to stand in your truth without needing approval. Your sacred power to act with integrity, even when no one is watching. And your rare gift to be a vessel for clarity when others are drowning in uncertainty. This is why people feel drawn to you even when they don't fully understand why. Why people trust you. Your energy is rare in this world. People may sometimes feel unsettled around you because your presence reveals truth, not through accusation, but simply through being who you are. Their souls recognize your authenticity, even when their minds can't explain it. That is why they feel vulnerable around you, and why they end up trusting you in ways they can't quite put into words. You are not here to carry everyone's weight or to always be perfect. You are here to be a mirror of divine intelligence, a living reminder that truth still exists, that clarity is possible, and that there are souls who cannot be bought, shaken, or fooled. This is not a burden, dear child. It is a calling, and the heavens rejoice every time you live from this place of alignment. What the observer learned from you. The person who tested you noticed not just your actions, but the energy behind them. They saw how you didn't need to defend yourself because your truth was radiant enough to speak on its own. They felt your unwavering sense of justice, your refusal to play mind games, and your willingness to hold space for what is real. And in that moment, their heart chose you. Maybe not romantically, maybe not openly, but deeply and permanently. This person was looking for something they had lost faith in: truth in a world full of deception, kindness in a world full of self-interest, light in a world that sometimes feels heavy. When they looked at you, they found what they had been seeking. You became a breath of clean air. Without even knowing it, you helped them remember that trust is not foolish and that goodness still exists. The silent strength you carry. The angels also want to acknowledge the burdens you've carried silently. You are one of those rare and resilient hearts who holds responsibilities and fights silent battles without applause or recognition. You have kept going even when everything inside you whispered to give up. You have carried not just your own pain, but the pain of others, often stretching your soul far beyond your own needs to hold space for them. This observer, the one who tested you, saw all of this. They may never express it in words, but their heart trusts you in a way that is rare and permanent because you have shown through your actions that you don't abandon ship when the waters get rough. You don't close your heart when it's been hurt. You don't let pain make you bitter. Instead, you have chosen again and again to remain soft in a world that tries to harden you. And that is something no test can fake. What your spirit proves. In staying true to your nature, you revealed what grace in hardship looks like. You showed what true devotion feels like. You gave someone the courage to trust again, not just in you, but in goodness itself. You became their answer to a silent question they had been asking for a long time. Do souls like you still exist? Do people still love without condition? Do they stay even when it's hard, without even trying? You became the living proof of the answer. This is why the angels pour light into your spirit now. They want you to know that every weight you've carried has not gone unnoticed. Every sleepless night, every brave face you've worn while trembling inside, all of it has built a legacy of divine strength around you. You have already passed the test. Dear child, you may feel tired, and that is completely valid. But your weariness is not weakness. It is the echo of how much you've given, how much you've held, and how much you've loved, often without recognition. The test has already passed. The answer is already clear. You are enough, and you are deeply, deeply trusted. The one who observed you has come to a realization that goes beyond admiration. They have seen that no matter what burdens life places upon you, your essence does not change. Your light does not dim. Your heart does not close. That unwavering spirit has left a sacred imprint upon them. Time to receive. The angels now call you to recognize your own worth. You have spent so long being strong for others that you sometimes forget to be soft with yourself. You deserve the same kindness you so freely extend. The divine wants to lift those burdens from you, not because you have failed in carrying them, but because you have already proven your heart. Trust that the same angels who watched you pass the test are also clearing the path ahead for you to find rest, renewal, and love that honors the weight you've carried. Let someone, perhaps the very person who has now come to trust you completely, offer you support. You do not have to carry it all alone anymore. Your fire and your gifts. This observer saw more than just your endurance. They saw your fire, the glow in your eyes when you speak your truth, the spark you carry even in uncertain times. They saw how you hold hope in your voice after disappointments, how you still believe in new beginnings even when others only see endings. They noticed your bravery, the kind that doesn't shout, but gently persists. They saw how you move forward with heart, not ego, how you never let fear turn you bitter. In that, they found trust, not just in you, but in what is possible through connection, through authenticity, through a soul like yours that refuses to dim its flame even when the world is cold. You awaken others. Dear child, because of your example, someone is starting to trust their heart again. Because of your light, someone who once feared new beginnings is starting to dream again. Your presence reminded them of their own dreams, of their own inner fire that had been dimmed by disappointment and doubt. The angels are overflowing with love for you because they see how much courage it takes to live this way, to show up with sincerity when others wear masks, to be excited about something even when the outcome is uncertain, to keep your heart open knowing it might get hurt simply because you believe love and light are still worth the risk. You are a torchbearer. You are a torchbearer. Dear child, a soul that lights the way not by knowing every step, but by being brave enough to take the first one. The observer who once tested you is no longer testing. They are watching with awe, wondering how someone like you exists in a world like this. Perhaps they are now ready to walk beside you, not as someone who doubts, but as someone who finally believes again. Your enthusiasm is not surface level. It's rooted in something real. It's fueled by your desire to live fully, to love deeply, and to leave every soul you meet a little brighter than you found them. The angel's final whisper. Let this message wrap around your spirit like a soft cloak of love and encouragement. You are not only trusted, dear child, you are cherished. You are not only seen, you are deeply understood. Your energy has touched places in another soul that even words could never reach. The angels are with you always, cheering you on, walking beside you, and gently reminding you that your light is awakening the world one heart at a time. Keep rising, keep glowing, keep trusting that every silent test is also a divine stage for your soul to shine. You are not alone. You are guided, and your truth is your power, a quiet courage that spoke louder than words. Dear child, there are moments in life when the most powerful choices are not the ones made with noise or applause, but the ones made quietly, in silence, and in stillness. These choices are like seeds planted deep in the soil of the soul. They are not always visible, but they hold the power to change everything. The angels are gently reminding you today of one such moment in your life. It may have been recent, or it may have been long ago, but there was a time when you chose to walk away from something that no longer felt right for your heart. That choice was not weakness. It was not running away. It was a sacred act of courage, born from the whisper of your own spirit telling you that you deserve more. And you listened. Someone was watching you in that moment. Even if you didn't know it, someone had their eyes on you, not to judge, but to understand. They wanted to see what you would do when no one was clapping for you, when no one was begging you to stay, when no promises were being offered to make things easier. You were not tested by a confrontation. You were tested by life itself, by the willingness to honor your soul's truth over superficial comfort. What this person saw was strength, integrity, and a depth of self-respect that spoke louder than any words could. Walking away with grace. Not everyone has the bravery to leave behind what feels familiar. Not everyone has the heart to walk away from what once brought joy simply because they know it no longer aligns with their inner truth. But you did. In your silence, in your quiet act of self-respect, you created a sacred imprint on someone's heart. They saw how you chose peace over pretense, how you honored your emotions even when they felt heavy, and how you walked away not out of anger, but out of love for your own healing. In that very moment, They saw the kind of person you truly are, the kind of soul who chooses authenticity over illusion, growth over stagnation, and faith over fear. The angels remind you that what you release with grace. What you turned your back on, you did not leave because you lacked love. You left because you deserved a love that matched your soul's vibration. This quiet moment of courage revealed more about you than any conversation ever could. It showed you are not someone who clings out of desperation. You are not someone who fears being alone. You are someone who honors the sacred cycles of life. Someone who knows when it is time to stay and when it is time to gently let go. That inner knowing is rare. That trust in divine timing, emotional evolution, and your own journey is what made someone look at you with reverence. The beginning, not the end. The path you chose, the one that felt uncertain, perhaps even lonely, was not the end. It was the beginning of something sacred. The angels walked that path with you, their wings softly brushing against your shoulders, reminding you that you are never alone. And the one who watched you, the one who observed your silent bravery, now carries a trust for you that is unshakable, because they saw how you did not stay where your soul was shrinking. They saw how you moved forward even when your heart was trembling. And in doing so, you taught them something about trust, not just trusting others, but trusting one's own heart, one's own intuition, and one's own need for something more. They saw in you a mirror of what they had forgotten in themselves. The right to leave what no longer feels like home, the courage to search for deeper waters, and the faith to believe that something more aligned is waiting beyond the horizon. Because of your example, because of your quiet departure, they began to re-examine their own life. They began to wonder what they had been holding on to out of habit, what spaces they had stayed in out of fear, and whether they too could trust the gentle pull of their soul the way you did. In watching you honor your journey, they began to remember theirs. And that, dear child, is the divine power you carry, not to persuade, not to push, but to inspire by simply living your truth, passing the test with grace. Let this message be a soft affirmation for your soul. You were tested not by cruelty, but by a sacred opportunity to reveal who you truly are. And in that test, you passed with flying colors, not through dramatic gestures, but through your quiet commitment to walk in alignment with your higher self. The angels celebrate you, not only for your strength, but for your clarity and your inner compass that guides you toward what is real and away from what is no longer meant for your evolution. That test was not about proving your worth. It was about revealing it. And now someone sees you not just as someone they admire, but someone they trust, because they know you will not stay where love isn't sacred. You will not pretend when your heart is aching, and you will not betray your own soul just to satisfy someone else's comfort. You are a rare kind of soul, the kind that understands the sacred language of release. That is why the angels walk so closely with you. That is why someone who once doubted the honesty of others now believes in your truth, because you walked away, not to escape, but to return to yourself, because you honored what your heart was whispering when everything else around you screamed to stay. That whisper, that quiet intuitive wisdom, is what made them believe in you. And now they carry that trust not only as a thought, but as a knowing. You are not just someone who speaks of truth, you live it. And in doing so, you gave someone else the courage to begin again. Your light is quiet but powerful. The road ahead may still be unknown, but it is sacred. Your past choices have carved a new space for healing, for love, for truth to meet you where you are. And the one who once tested you is no longer watching from afar. Their heart has aligned with yours in quiet trust, ready to follow where you so bravely led. Because of you, someone finally believes that walking away can be an act of love. Because of you, someone remembers that the soul always knows the way. And because of you, the angels sing louder today, wrapping you in warmth and divine reassurance, whispering again and again, you are trusted, you are loved, and you are never alone. Dear child, there is a radiant fire that lives within you, a quiet but undeniable power that does not need to be announced, only felt. It is the kind of presence that turns heads without trying, the kind of strength that doesn't shout, but inspires silently. You may not even realize how deeply your light affects those around you, but the angels have seen it, and so has someone else. Someone who recently found themselves wondering if anyone in this world could truly be real, trustworthy, and consistently true to their soul. The power of authentic love. They watched you, dear one, not to find flaws, but to find reassurance that the kind of strength wrapped in kindness still exists. What they discovered in you surpassed their expectations. You were not being tested to break you. You were being quietly observed, measured not by performance, but by how effortlessly you remain anchored in your authenticity. And what they saw was something they now hold in high regard, a soul who leads with both courage and compassion, a spirit that walks with grace and burns with purpose. What this person noticed in you was the kind of inner power that is not loud, not dominating, but deeply magnetic. They noticed that you do not force yourself to be seen, but your truth naturally draws others in. You show up not to prove anything, but because your heart tells you to. You act not from ego, but from alignment with a deeper purpose. You lift others often without even realizing it, with your unwavering belief in yourself and your refusal to dim your light no matter how many times life has tried to make you smaller. Strength with softness. You are not arrogant, dear child, but you are certain. And in a world full of confusion, that certainty shines like a lighthouse in a storm. The one who tested you saw how you carry yourself with quiet confidence, with warmth that does not waver, and with eyes that reflect both wisdom and fire. They saw how you support others without losing yourself, how you speak with kindness, yet never compromise your boundaries, and how you stay rooted in your truth, even when it would be easier to pretend or please. They saw in you a rare balance that very few people ever master, the ability to be strong and soft at the same time. You lead not because you crave control, but because people trust your vision. You walk ahead not because you need the spotlight, but because your spirit naturally seeks to illuminate the path. You are the kind of soul who inspires others to rise, not through words, but through the way you carry your own flame. You don't chase approval. You don't seek validation. And that is exactly why you are so deeply trusted. A heart that heals. Because the one who was quietly observing you saw that you are not swayed by trends, not controlled by opinions, not manipulated by fear. You are led by an inner compass that always points to truth, to purpose, to integrity, and in that they found safety. They found someone they could believe in, someone they could look to in times of doubt, someone whose strength is rooted in soul, not performance. This person may have been wounded before, perhaps by someone who wore a mask of confidence, but lacked depth, or by someone who used their fire to destroy instead of inspire. But when they met you, they sensed immediately that you were different. Your fire does not consume. It comforts, it warms, it illuminates. And that is why their heart opened to you in ways they never expected. Love that is real. You didn't need to prove yourself. You just needed to be exactly who you are. And that was enough. That is always enough. So, if you felt lately like you were under observation, like someone was waiting to see how you would react, know that it wasn't about judgment. It was about confirmation. They were hoping that someone like you truly existed, and now they know. What they discovered has changed something within them. They no longer see strength as something to fear or power as something to avoid. They now understand that real strength can be nurturing, that real power can be patient, that real trust begins with watching someone stay true to themselves no matter the cost. The angels are pouring light into your soul, blessing you for your authenticity, for your unwavering heart, and for your willingness to walk your path even when it would be easier to shrink. You are not here to dim your flame, dear child. You are here to light the way. And the person who once tested you now knows they can walk beside you without fear, without hesitation, because they have seen who you are in your most natural state, genuine, grounded, glowing with purpose. That is why you are trusted. That is why your presence changes people. And that is why the divine continues to place you in spaces where your light can awaken others. The angel's closing blessing. Keep shining, beloved child. Keep leading with love. The world needs more souls like you. Souls who are brave enough to be themselves, kind enough to lift others, and strong enough to carry the torch of truth even when the night feels long. You were tested, yes, but the result was never in question. You are trusted deeply, unconditionally, and eternally. Dear child, there are certain moments in life that go unnoticed by the eyes, yet they echo deeply within the soul. You may not have known it at the time, but someone was quietly watching you, not with judgment, but with a heart full of silent questions. They wanted to understand who you really were beneath the surface, whether your love was genuine, whether your choices came from the heart or from habit, and whether your spirit could be trusted to stay when things got hard. Without words, without confrontation, they tested the sincerity of your love, the purity of your intentions, and the truth behind the way you connect to others. What they discovered in you left a mark on their soul, a soft but certain awakening that made them believe in something they had long stopped trusting. They saw that you don't just offer love as a word, but as a sacred act, an energy, a presence that is fully alive, deeply committed, and divinely guided. They felt your love not only in what you said, but in what you chose, in what you sacrificed, and in what you stayed faithful to even when no one was watching. This test was not to measure your worth, but to confirm it. And through it, this person saw how your love is not given lightly, not scattered in pieces, but offered fully with devotion, with mindfulness, and with a depth that is increasingly rare in this world.